Moana 2 wasn't terrible, guys. Come on. It was painfully mediocre.
You want to get through it? You just gotta chee-hoo it. Let's do it.
Critics say Moana 2 is all over the place, and boy do I actually agree with them this time. Instead of a cohesive story, it feels like Disney threw a bunch of random TV episodes into a blender and said, yep, that's a movie. 1 minute Moana's here, the next she's there, and by the end, even she seems confused about what she's supposed to be doing. It's like the ocean called, but they forgot to leave a voicemail.
Good riddance, you filthy pile of pebbles!
One of the biggest misses in Moana 2 is how long it takes to bring Moana and Maui back together on screen. The reunion feels like an afterthought instead of the driving force of the actual story. The first movie thrived on the dynamic between Moana and Maui. Their playful banter, reluctant partnership, and eventual deep friendship were the heart and soul of the film. The sequel fails to recreate that magic by keeping them apart for way too long. And when Maui finally shows up, the spark from the first movie just isn't there. The chemistry feels rushed, almost like Disney expected nostalgia alone to carry the weight of their relationship without putting in the work to develop it again. The decision to delay their screen time not only impacts the pacing of the story, but also takes away from what made the original so special. The journey they shared and how they grew as characters through their interactions. Now, they attempted to recreate that with our cast of new characters that were added for this second voyage, but it just wasn't the same. Then there's the music. Oh, the music. Remember how the original had songs like How Far I'll Go and You're Welcome? Absolute bangers that stuck in your head for days. My kids asked me to play them in the car so much it showed up on my Spotify Wrapped for most played songs the last 3 consecutive years. Well, Moana 2's soundtrack was underwhelming at best and never lived up to the original soundtrack. Even The Rock's new song fell mega short of You're Welcome. Abigail Barlow and Emily Bear took over the soundtrack, but let's just say they didn't exactly go the distance. Disney made it clear that they didn't need Lin-Manuel Miranda to make great songs for the sequel. Well, spoiler alert, you absolutely do. The original Moana was a masterpiece. Innovative story, emotional depth, and music that made you feel something. Better than Moana 2, of course, on the other hand, which feels like a poorly planned vacation. Sure, the animation's gorgeous, but the plot is aimless, the songs are lackluster, and the magic, it's nowhere to be found. Instead of building on the legacy of the first, Disney delivered a sequel that's more of a forgettable rehash. And now, just for a moment, I want to talk about the villains of Moana 2. First up, we have Nalo, the god of storms, who's supposed to be this terrifying, all-powerful force, but honestly, he just doesn't live up to the hype. Compared to Te Kā, Nalo feels more like an angry rain cloud than a true menace.
Now I kind of miss the lava monster.
Now, Te Kā, the fiery, rage-filled volcanic monster, presented an actual threat. Or even Tamatoa, the hilariously vain and shiny crab. Those villains had presence, personality, and stakes. Nalo? Not so much. And then there's Matangi, who the movie tries to position as some kind of ominous force, but plot twist, she's not even a real villain. Turns out she's just another victim of Nalo's curse, trapped and misunderstood. Matangi ends up being more of a plot device than a compelling character. Matangi's song in Moana 2 is super forgettable, and it's definitely no shiny. Tamatoa's number in the first movie was an absolute bop. It was fun, clever, and had a giant crab waxing poetic about his fabulousness. You want to know the best part of Moana 2, in my opinion? The post-credits scene where Tamatoa shows up again. That moment honestly had more energy and charm than half the movie. I personally think it was a big mistake not allowing Tamatoa to reprise his role during the movie and sing another great song like Shiny. But that's just me. But here's the silver lining, folks. Moana 2 sets up for a third movie. Spoiler alert. And hey, maybe Disney will figure out how to bring the magic back. Give us some real story, unforgettable songs, and bring Moana and Maui together from the start. But hey, what do I know? Moana 2 just set the box office record for highest grossing Thanksgiving Day movie ever. So clearly people are still showing up, and despite the movie sucking, it's probably going to keep raking in cash on the name alone. Kind of like those horrible Star Wars sequels. But let's be real. I'd still watch Moana 2 10 more times before willingly sitting through The Last Jedi again. Yeah, that's right, Kathleen Kennedy. I said it.
I have spoken.
So, what do you think of Moana 2? Was it a wave of fun or a total shipwreck? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more brutally honest reviews. And until next time, what can I say except you're welcome?